Welcome to Skillenza webinar. Today we have with us team from MoveInSync. We'll have a healthy discussion with them about company culture and why one should join MoveInSync. Quickly, I will inform about what Skillenza is in the next slide. Skillenza is a platform for hosting challenges. Companies like you host challenges to find people based on their skills. Rewards that get our jobs, internships, prizes, goodies, anything. Today's topic, which is the most important thing that we are discussing here, is why MoveInSync should be anyone's next career move. And to discuss this, we have Akash, who is ex-Microsoft and ITBHU alumni. He is CTO and co-founder at MoveInSync. And we have Videh. He's a IIT Kanpur and Manchester Business School alumni and ex-Snapdeal. There is a little bit of snapshot of their with pictures. You are having their videos right on your screen. So for social buffs, this is the hashtag that we'll be using for this event. Hash MoveInSync. If you're doing Twitter, Facebook, anywhere, you can use this, right? All right.
Hi guys, this is Akash, and thanks a lot everybody for taking up your time in evening for this discussion. So quickly about, I'll just go back why we started MoveInSync. So that's a little funny story. So when Dipesh was working at Motorola and I was working at Microsoft, so most of us, all the software engineers, just like you, we initially thought, only problem that we wanted to solve was carpooling problem. So somehow we built a carpooling solution. We went to the organization saying that, why not you use our carpooling solution? And then once the solution was ready, so we went to showcase it to Google. So what they said is, this looks good, but we have a much bigger problem. And that they talked about this whole employee transportation problem, right? And the funny part is coming from a business family, just realize there is a customer who is ready to say that, I'm ready to pay you money, right? Why don't you build it for us? And that was the whole story of how the entire movement started. We build a software. Believe me, we are like very slow. We are not as smart as you guys are. We took good 2 years to get our first paid customer, right? And Google was our first paid customer. The second customer also we took good another 1 year, which was Microsoft, and in third year we got Amazon. So we really took good 4 or 5 years to get our 4 to 5 customers. That is what it is. So it went like this, and then second part, which actually we are going to discuss about what MoveInSync is about. At MoveInSync, we all are trying to solve an office commute problem. The whole idea is that everybody has to go to office and come back, right? And we want to solve this problem through ride sharing because it's a very interesting way. Because when everybody is going in one direction, it's a very good chance of you can really make sharing work for them. In the evening, when everybody is coming in opposite direction, you can make the sharing work once again. With this thought process, we started MoveInSync. All right, and what we did initially was initially we built a software solution, but I'll discuss about more now. That now we have a lot more than just software solution. And why we were so interested in solving an office commute problem, because I so in Bangalore, we all understand how much we love traffic, right? So that is the reason we want to solve a problem in which really reduce the traffic. And these are like some very interesting statistics we later to came to know about. We had no freaking clue why we got into this business, right? So what we found is a very interesting thought that 70% of the world's commute happen in context of office commute, right? If you go on a road, right, and talk to 100 guys, right, what they're doing, 70 of them will tell you either they're going to office or coming back. So that's the whole context of office commute. It's a phenomenally large, big, and amazing problem. The second reason is why office commute we should really look into the interesting manner is that 7% of our entire time, right, while we are awake, while we are away, we 7% of our time is being spent while going to office or coming back. Right? So these are the two interesting facts about office commute, and which really makes this whole process quite interesting.
Yeah. So, hey everyone, this is Videh here. So, I joined MoveInSync Story 4 years ago. So, I come from IIT Kanpur, graduated in 2004 from electrical engineering. Um and I have been a bit of a nomad ever since. So I keep jumping from one company to another. This is the first company where I have really stuck around for a very long time. Like it's been 4 years, and my track record before this was 1 year anyway. So really, so there is something which is very exciting that I'm finding over here, right? So after graduating from IIT Kanpur, I tried my hands in a lot of different industries, including telecom, including financial industries. I realized that in addition to technology, I love solving business problems as well. So I went on to do my MBA from Manchester Business School. Unfortunately, recession stuck again, so I came back to India, 2010, and then I headed an account management team at an early e-commerce startup company called Reasoning. Uh, Thereafter, I went into Snapdeal, and sorry, in between I was at Oracle as well, wherein again I saw how a mature industry really operates. Then I went to Snapdeal, where the pace was extremely breakneck. Uh, the industry exploded. So I was the product manager there for mobile applications, and we grew from 4% of the entire revenue to 25% of the entire 33% of the entire revenue within a year. So it was a phenomenal story. But what I found very troubling was the lack of vision in the B2C industry segment in India. Um, and that is where I came to know about the opportunity at MoveInSync, and I joined here. This was a time when Ola and Uber were also like just starting to enter the Indian market. Um, so basically, taxi was show was still around. The entire office commute, the logistics space was very exciting, and it still is. So the challenges which are out there when I joined here, like the ride sharing, how do you ensure that ride later can happen? How do you plan in a way that your costs are optimal, your riders are extremely happy with your service. These are some of the very key challenges that we are trying to solve. So, over the last 4 years of my time at MoveInSync, uh, what I'm happy to talk about is that we have grown significantly. Like Akash mentioned, we grew to like first 4 or 5 customers in first 4 or 5 years. But from there on, our growth has been extremely phenomenal. We have onboarded names from across the industry, from big giants like Infosys, etc., to hardcore technology companies like Amazon, Facebook, people who value technology a lot. So we have been solving this problem for them, which is not their core problem. So, but it's typically a very high cost head for them. So typical organization is spending close to it's the second or the third highest cost center, um, and there is it's a very unorganized industry. There was a lot of chaos. We have tried to solve a lot of that. There's a significant room for optimizing the entire story. We have been able to demonstrate value to our customers in terms of cost savings, in terms of improving the satisfaction of their employees. Uh, and that is our key mantra, that we are here in the game to demonstrate value. We're going to solve these problems in the most optimal fashion. So our entire gamut is constructed around three pillars. We focus on risk. We want to lower the risk as much as possible. So we want the women employee workforce to enter into the be feel safe while working as much as their male counterparts or more. So we want to optimize this so that it's a scalable solution for everyone involved. We want to make this a very exciting journey, the satisfaction level for every stakeholder, not just the employees, but the drivers, the entire ecosystem. And what I'm happy to announce is we are number one right now in this particular space of the B2B employee transportation. And from here on, the challenges that are ahead of us are extremely exciting. We are looking beyond India now. We are looking to solving the employee commutation. So we are primarily office commute space player. We are looking to solve office commute problem, be it through ride sharing, be it through carpooling, be it through a bus, be it through a fixed transportation, public transportation, private transportation partnership, any which model, we want to solve this problem anywhere in the world.
So this will give you a context in terms of business, right? So we have around 80 plus clients. We are doing around 1.5 million trips a month. We have a presence in 20 cities in India, one city in Sri Lanka, and we'll be starting our operations in South Africa next month, right? So we have almost 215 daily users, and our mobile app has been used by almost 300,000 users every month. So MAU is around 300,000. So this is like at very high level. What is the scale we are talking about? Some another interesting fact is almost 46,000 drivers are using our system every day. So to give you a perspective of just to give you a perspective, this size is almost one fourth of Ola and Uber. The kind of business they are doing in India. So this is approximately ballpark figures like that.
Sanjay, I
Okay,
have.
so just I'll give you a quick brief about. First, we started as a software as a service solution where we were going and taking our product and giving it to the companies, and they used to license it, and they used to use our software to manage their employee transportation. Right, that is what we were doing for initial 6 years, and post that time we got another we ventured in a more space. We got deeper into the same space where we started going to the company and saying that we'll solve the entire full stack problem for you, right from the software to vehicles to driver to employees. We'll manage everything for you, their entire transport. As of now we are calling it platform, but we are more than happy if somebody has a more interesting name, right? So this is what we are getting into. We're just talking about new products. We'll be launching a couple of more interesting areas where we are so far in the office commute. The problem we were solving was where the employers are paying for their employees' transportation, but we are going deeper where employees can come and directly pay MoveInSync, and will provide office commute to you. This is a pilot going in this direction. That is a other direction. But if we talk about in terms of numbers, from last 5 years, we are going 100% every year, right? Right, and the last year, from last 4 years, the target is 1000% growth. 10 times we want to grow, and the reason for the 10 time growth is the new products that we are talking about, new offerings we are going to have, new business we are going to venture. That is the whole idea that we are. The another interesting things which happen with MoveInSync, which typically does not happen with any kind of startup, is that we are a profitable company, even though we are Series B funded. But believe me, we have not touched Series B money yet. So that means we are a profitable, and we are here with a long-term perspective of solving this problem.
So just to add to what Akash has been saying, so one of the things I always like talking about is, so MoveInSync is currently at a very unique position. We have a cash cow. We are profitable, which is a very exciting thing for an Indian startup. But we are still calling ourselves a startup because we are looking at the next stage of growth. So you would get a platform at MoveInSync wherein MoveInSync is already has achieved certain synergies, and then we are looking to expand into areas which are uncharted, and we are looking for people who would help us achieve that. Something which is uh, very so basically the kind of new developments, the new growth areas that we are looking at. People build companies out of that from scratch, and that stuff because there is a lot of uncertainty involved. The great part about MoveInSync is it's at a stage wherein we are not worried about the stability of the company. We are not worried about where we are headed. We know we are well funded. We know we are profitable. We know we are sustainable. Our salaries are going to be there, and we can take bigger risk and bigger bets now.
So far we have raised good $11 million. Just to give you a perspective, that it's a very stable company, that and we have fantastic investors, who have not just invested money, but they are actually invested in us. We have the discussion with the investors every second week, and they really help us out, right, in getting a very big perspective of how to really grow 10x. Right, so the investors are from Qualcomm. Qualcomm Ventures is one of the investors. Investors Capital Partners, the folks who are investors in Red Buzz, Policy Bazaar, Sama Capital. They were investors in Paytm, initial phase, Paytm, Snapdeal, Chai Point. Nexus Venture Partners, they don't need any kind of introduction here. It's a very big fund, based out of US, and they are really very active in the market here, investment market here. So these are the set of investors, and we are very proud of them, working with them.
So, one of the key things again which excites us at MoveInSync are the problems, the kind of challenges that we are solving. These are the problems that are very real and grounded in reality. And when you're solving them, one of the biggest kicks is seeing those problems. You are actually able to see the impact of your work in the real world with the real customers. So, some of the key problems that we have been solving. So, like I said, we are solving a lot of optimization problems. We are focused on ensuring that the commuters are happy while they're on commuting. So, one of the key things is we have made ETA prediction models, which are we are able to do very good times forecasting of the travel times. Sorry, for when the employees would travel at peak hours, off peak hours, at different hours of day, on different days of week, etc. We have built ML models to solve that. We have built ML models to solve demand predictions on. So, for example, you want to find out what is the demand pattern going to be like. This is a very unique space, right? You have people living all over the city and they want to travel. And if you want to optimize on your cost, if you want to optimize on their travel experiences, you have to make a prediction on who's going to be coming, when they are going to be coming, and plan your gaps. And the supply side, again, you have to plan out where do you have the gaps in supply, how do you fulfill that, so that you're able to bring everyone to work on time, ensure that they are not stuck in traffic. We are doing route optimization, so people are traveling through roads. So it's classic ride sharing problem, right? If you're taking Ola ride share or any B2C sharing, you would know of the challenges which are out there. It's say, for example, in a city like Bangalore, at 7 p.m. you're coming home from, say, Electronic City to Kormangla, and do you travel via HSR? Do you go via Silk Board? These are all the kind of questions which are there. We are helping companies solve that. We are helping, and the proof of the pudding is we have got an extremely high employee satisfaction rating of over 90% of our routes are liked by the employees. In terms of asset utilization, so we have been working on improving how a particular how much a particular cab is going to be utilized, ensuring that it's getting business from across the city. There are synergies. For example, a cab is running a trip at Electronic City and then providing the same cab a trip thereafter at, say, for example, from Belandur. So you would need to solve a lot of challenges in terms of your travel time predictions need to be good. You need to know how whether a driver would want to do a trip like that or not. Are you able to satisfy the driver? Are you able to satisfy the employees who are traveling in that route? Are they getting information on time? So a lot of these real world challenges and optimization problems are our core strength that we have been solving.
Yeah. So I think, if I just take a step back, see, finally, now if you just put a very simple thing, you'll be able to make a good operations running only if the driver is making enough money, right? So in order to ensure the driver is making enough money, right, which basically for that you have to improve the asset utilization so that you are able to give him more business. Maybe it could be in form of trips or maybe more number of kilometers he's traveling. So he should be making a good money in that. So keeping that constraint in mind, we have to ensure that we have to put like 2, 3, 4 employees in a vehicle so that the employee satisfaction does not go down, right? Which brings another flavor to the problem, where you have to give enough trips, but employees should travel less. That is the second problem. The third problem is all about the demand prediction. The demand prediction will help you in doing a much better job of asset utilization. So, give you an example of demand prediction is that typically what we have seen, you can really say that on a Monday demand will be same as next Monday's demand. Tuesday's demand will be same as next Tuesday's demand, right? So which actually gives you an idea about how many vehicles or how many employees vehicles you would require on a particular day. The second thing that we have also seen the demand on after a long weekend or when there is a long weekend around, it will be very different. So keeping these things into the picture, we use this tech, right? So that the whole idea here is that you can really provide a smooth transportation, fantastic experience to the employees, and while driver is making amazing money out of it. So that's a very real world problem we are trying to solve. Okay. So I think from a very very high level perspective, what an engineer will get if he works for MoveInSync is that I think the most biggest kick as an engineer, because I have also worked with various organizations, I work with a startup, I work with Microsoft, is that I know that every engineer gets a kick when his solution is being used by the customer, right? And that is the biggest perk, right, that you will get at MoveInSync. Whatever you will build, you will be building. Next day, it is going to get to the customers, and in quite a few cases, you will be working directly with that user to ensure that your product is working or your feature is working. Right? That is a most amazing kick you will get. The whatever the code you will write, deploy, it will be going to be. It has to have scale there, right? Maybe not at the MVP state, but we have to think about the scale. So it will ensure that you are using your intellect to the fullest, right? On top of it, we have our engineers be a very to play a very proactive role in the product roadmap definition, right? They play a very active role in that because they are the ones who are working with the customers and the account management team and the sales team. They do it. We have a culture of so this is what it is. The tech stack as of today, so we are hosted on AWS, and tech stack that we are using is Java for the backend, is on Angular, and we are using Postgres as an RDB We are using MongoDB. We are using DynamoDB, and so even we are using some of the component of Azure as well. So which helps us in use the best tech to solve a particular problem. From the AI ML perspective, I think
So basically, as you can imagine, in this space, with we are solving a problem which is essentially, like you have to make a lot of predictions in order to ensure that you are able to derive the best cost benefits to your customers and ensure that the commuters are extremely happy with the services you are providing. So for example, like Akash highlighted earlier, that we are solving demand prediction problems. So for example, imagine you have to figure out across the city based on the so for example, the weekdays, the long weekends are a pattern. So we have built a model which has so we have a different model for each weekday, we have a different model for each holiday. So we have been factoring in so if you have to factor in for, so we have done a time series forecast, which is a complex problem in itself. uh, we tried out solutions like Aramax, etc. But we came up with our own solutions or our own models. wherein we have been looking at models wherein we have been leveraging factors such as what will happen during. So there is a cyclicity and seasonality because of say the month. So if it's around Christmas or New Year, the demand patterns are very different. Again, demand patterns vary in the city in different pockets differently. For example, say a majority of the employees living in Kormangla operate in companies which are working for the US or the UK based MNCs, whereas employees living, say, towards Nagarbavi work more towards in Indian-based startups, wherein the market focus is more Asian. So you get a very different demand pattern across the city based on who wants to travel when. And there is a lot of unpredictability in the system, but there is a lot of there is a pattern as well that we are trying to crack. We have been working on that. We are working on travel time predictions, wherein if you are traveling on the same route on a daily basis, you would have noticed like sometimes your travel times are 15 minutes, sometimes you have 50 or 45 minutes. If you search on Google and ask Google to tell you how much time it will take you from your home to reach airport tomorrow morning at say 9 a.m., you'll probably get a range of 1 hour to 2 hour range, right? So it's a system which is not as easily defined and predicted. We are trying to solve those problems. We are making predictions on if you're traveling in a sumo versus if you're traveling in an Indica or if you're traveling in a bus, what kind of travel times you would experience. If you travel through narrow lanes versus wide range, wide roads, what kind of travel times you would get. So we are solving this problem, and we have not yet solved it. We are still just making inroads into this, but this is the main problem, the crux of our entire solution.
So quickly, as I briefly mentioned that we are having 46,000 drivers who are using our system. What we have used is that all the data that these devices are sending to our system is sent over IoT. That's a very easy way for us to scale. We don't have to really worry about if we just it helps us in really scale horizontally as the number of devices are increasing. You just have to pay more to Amazon and they will do the job of scaling it for us. So that's what we are using as an IoT.
Sorry, just to highlight here, we believe the tracking system that we have built is best in class. So basically, if a cab is traveling and you want to track when it will reach your home to pick you up, the tracking system that we have built, the delays there are best in class. The visibility of the cab that you get is not even delayed by 1 second or so with our systems.
Yeah, so the if you really go back and see the tracking, it is almost the tracking of the Ola you will see in that, and which is based on socket cluster and IoT. It's a mix of two things that we are using. I think most important part is when you will be building here, you will be building for the solution which will. I think the interesting thing is while you are building the solution for millions, you also have a lot of interesting challenges about data security because we are especially working with the enterprise, which make things really complex. The kind of SLAs that we have with these enterprise customers pretty phenomenal, very amazing in that case. So while you'll be building a solution which is required for by these drivers and employees, you have to ensure that they are secure and they are scalable. It's super important. Right, and I think one more thing we have a very interesting concept is that all the engineers, right? They are the complete owner of the services where they have to come build the service and they will be owning it even in the production, right? So believe me, if there is something not working in your service, you will get a call from the support team directly. It will not come through a lead or manager or anybody. He's going to call you. The support guy will be calling you directly in case your service is not working properly. So that's a very challenging work. In addition, what we also have done within our own company is that we have experienced this team. For example, employee experience is a team, a driver experience is a team, right? Vehicle optimization is another team, right? Billing, analytics, that's another team. So you'll be part of a team which is closely working in a very tight net, very close functionalities, so that finally you're solving a problem for a persona, right? You'll not be solving a problem, a generic problem. You'll be always very attached to the persona. You will have a passion for that person, how to make that persona's life simple. So that's what we have. And quickly, you can see that that's how we have fun while
Yeah.
working, right? So we have fantastic offsites. This is what our office looks like, right? And pretty very open culture, very open culture.
So it's an open culture not just in terms of having fun while working, but any ideas you have from bottom up, we are very open to hearing about that. Engineers have driven a lot of development in our organization in helping solve customer problems. It's not just the leads like Akash highlighted who would be having the onus of ensuring that the services are delivering whatever outputs we expect, but it's the entire team which works together and delivers that. We believe in a strongly cooperative culture. So it's a culture wherein you can approach anyone, talk to them about the problems, the industries, solutions that you are exploring. Uh, so yeah, basically, even as a product manager, when you discuss the solutions with the teams, uh, it's often the teams who are driving the shape of the solution, the design of the solution. Although we, are, but having said that, we are also in a very fast-paced industry, and you will face a lot of challenges. It's a hard work. I would not say it's all fun. It's hard work. Uh, you will have to slog and ensure that the deadlines are being met. Because we are in a B2B space, we get to interact with the customers a lot. We know their pain points, and that becomes all the more reason for us to solve them as soon as possible. We are very customer centric. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, some more. You can see that that's how the typical team who are engaged in the various activities outside of work, right? And yeah, within office as well and outside office as well. So that's how quickly it is. I think we are done with this, and we are more than happy to take questions from here.
Thanks, Akash. Thanks, Videh. Um, I will take a couple of questions. I'll club few questions that our users have asked. Quickly clubbing two questions is how are you guys different, or how are your approach different from when it comes to security point of view from ride sharing app like Ola, Uber, or something like Quick Ride?
So
Sorry, Prakash, can you just repeat the question once, please?
Yeah, sure. So, what the question is, how is your service in a security point of view for a user different from Ola and Uber? We have heard stories about that, and also Quick Ride. So,
Yeah.
how is
See,
it for a consumer and for enterprises to trust you guys?
right. See, for us, why it is a lot more secure, because this entire solution has been built with us keeping the security in the mind, right? So right from so if you really ask me that when the driver is getting inducted, they go through almost 12 checkpoints, whether for the compliance, whether it's the vehicle compliance or whether the driver compliance. So it starts from there. Second thing is that we have a 24/7 command center where any employee can press an SOS. There will be a quick response team which will be responding to that. There are many other, almost 6 different parameters. We always monitor an employee when typically in the night hours, which is whether the employee is being dropped at the right place, right? If there is that is one. If the employee is being dropped at the right time, okay, if there is any kind of overspeeding with the vehicle is going out of in some of the blacklisted pockets of the city, That is the third. On top of it, especially for the women employee, once the women employee reaches home in night, right, at that point of time, there is a call goes to the women employee, have you reached properly at home? Right? So that is what at the very high level we provide. So our now how we are different from the Ola and Uber, Ola Quick Ride at this point of time is that this solution has been built actually keeping the employer in the mind, and for that context, it has been built for security, even the data security, and in every context. That is the reason we are slightly different than the other services in terms of data security. I hope we are able to answer. Correct, Prakash?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, thank you. I have another question. Yeah, so the question is from Raj. It's for Videh.
Yeah,
I know you have already mentioned a lot of features and what the product does, but anything that you would want to specifically mention in his own words, what are the cool products and features of projects currently in production?
absolutely. So, like we said, MoveInSync is not just a single product company. What we have are a bouquet of products. Uh, within any product space itself, we have multiple modules. One of our so any so we touch the complete journey within B2B space, which means right from the employee experience, the employee apps, just like the Ola Uber apps. But our employees have different needs from an Ola Uber app. Typically, you would want to be able to schedule for a long period of time. You want a lot of communication to flow through at different times, unlike an Ola Uber wherein you are doing it only for a single ride. So it goes, it is what Ola and Uber would do, but it goes beyond that. Again, with the entire gamut at the back end, which is the transport team, which is managing the entire end-to-end experience for the employees, right from onboarding the employees, managing, defining the policies. So every company that you encounter in a B2B space has a different way of working. There's these are the processes that they have built and evolved, and they work best in the environment that they operate in. So there are a lot of variations which are out there. There's a lot of configurability which comes in. So building a solution which is addressing the core need of the customer. For example, someone wants, so everyone wants their employees to reach office on time. That's the goal. But how they define that, how do they operate, what are the kind of processes they have in order to ensure that the employees are reaching on time, that varies. The flexibility given to the employees, the flexibility given to the transport team. So managing all of that complexity in terms of configurables is a single product which can be configured to anyone's need. That's one of the key challenges we have. Similarly, with the drivers and the vendors, so we have drivers who are operating not just for an Ola or Uber, they are operating for, say, for example, at Infosys in the morning, and then they are going to AT&T in the evening, and they need to be informed about the trips which are going to happen elsewhere. They operate with multiple vendor partners in order to ensure that they are getting sufficient business. Uh, we have to build in a lot of solutions again around ensuring that this guy is getting their payment on time. They have visibility on what's happening at the trip. We have again, because we are a mobile based solution, there are challenges in terms of the network availability in India, etc. Right? In spite of that, if we are able to offer the kind of service we are offering to the commuters, it's on the basis of looking at, we are very data centric and data driven. We have been analyzing data of where we are failing, why we are failing. So for example, our trips are done on the device even in absence of internet. So even if there is no internet available, like that happens, for example, suppose the cabs are waiting in the basement and the employees are boarding. So the trips can happen even if there is no internet. When the panic alarm is raised, for example, like Akash highlighted, right? So if the panic alarm is raised and if there is no internet, we still transmit that panic alarm to the respective transport teams. So we have built in multiple modules in order to ensure that happens. In terms of the new exciting products that we are headed towards, so like Akash touched upon, we are now looking at a solution which would help solve not just the employers provide transportation to the employees, but also remove that layer of the employers wherein we are entering more of a space of B2C, wherein an employee can purchase a subscription from us directly and uh, avail the rights while we promise to the our promise to the employees. So if you the current space, if you look at it, right, the biggest challenge if you want to use Ola and Uber for traveling to office or travel to office or from office is during cars. The availability of cabs is a big problem. There are surge prices or the trips get cancelled. What we are offering to our customers is a guarantee that your cab will arrive on time and then you will reach office on time or you will reach home on time. So these are
So yeah, so just to add quickly, while we are solving a very so a lot of really engineering goes, right? I think most of you can understand in solving that one small problem. But from the very feature specific thing, what we are really proud of, what we are working in a very near future is something an employee can come in the cab or bus and sign in, right? Sign into a device. The both the employees app and driver app, they will be able to find out their proximity, and then the employee will get signed in directly, automatically. That is
and this
something which
can
is
happen even if the internet is not available in the
not
area. For
available.
example, with the manufacturing segment.
Yeah. So that is one. Second thing, which is very interesting that we are working on, is that employee should be able to sign in, or driver should be able to is getting verified with the face recognition. So this is the second thing which is very interesting, which is going to happen, right? And there are a lot of other places, especially for the security perspective. I think we can do even there is another notch that we can work where we are able to proactively find out where the problems are, right? For the women's security perspective. Right. So this is, I think, at very high level, some of the features that probably we are working and will be working in a very.
Okay. Akash, I have one more questions, unless we have more questions coming in. What are company's core values? This question was asked by Deepu, and again he goes on and asks like, how are these values reflected across the company policies? What kind of people can be successful at the company, and what kind of people should not expect any success?
Okay, I think that's a fantastic question. Would love to take it. I think we are looking for the people. The core values of the company is we should be solving a real problem, which is in this case, if you really see office commute problem, for the passion for the customer user is super important. It's a very complex problem, hence perseverance for result. Think big, think different is super important in doing that. Integrity is another thing. When we talk about integrity, because maybe it is not applicable for the engineers, but we have an ops part as well. So it's super important that entire system should be based on trust, right? There are a lot of hundreds of drivers who you are responsible for their monthly earning. So we have to do a fantastic job out there. So these are the core values of the company. The kind of people who will be very successful in this company is, I would say, who work hard and party harder. That is super important. We love it. Second thing is that who actually want to solve a problem, right? It is not, we don't believe in, okay, these many number of hours you should put in, or we should work on weekday or weekend. As long as you are passionate about the customers, and as well as you are very open about the communication. Yeah, I think one of the very important thing person is that we want people who are very open for the discussion and the solution, right? This is absolutely important. Other thing is very agile. There's I can tell you we don't know all the solution beforehand, so we are more than happy to work with the people who are okay to fail and again stand up and solve it in an amazing manner. So these are the set of people we would love to work with.
Okay. I have one more question. So I think this is an extension of the SOS feature that you guys mentioned earlier. Jayanta is asking like, if a cab meets an accident or some unexpected incident happens, is there any provision or some method available for which a call to an ambulance or police can automatically be done?
So we have actually integrated with the Hyderabad police as well. So if in Hyderabad, at least if a security alert is received by us, that gets transmitted to Hyderabad police as well.
Yeah.
In addition, one of the incidents actually happened recently, unfortunately, wherein a vehicle did overturn, met with an accident, and unfortunately, the drivers and the employees both were unconscious in the cab and they could not raise an alarm themselves. So our smart system was able to identify that there is a problem with the cab. There is an issue, and within 10 minutes, we were notified that the cab is stuck at this location. There seems to be something wrong with this cab, and our team was able to respond and arrange for the hospitals for the driver employees to be moved to as well. So, hope that answers.
Yeah, that does. Okay, I'll take one more question. So this question is coming from Rahil, who is asking like, where do you see your company in 5 years? I'll add on to that. Where do you see your companies and employees in 5 years who start with you or are already in your team?
So I think I'll take this question and then Videh can add to it. So in 5 years, what we want to do is that we should have MoveInSync should be the pioneers, not just in India, it should be international as well in solving the office commute problem. Right. While as of today, we are just solving an office commute problem where employees are paying, but in 5 years, our expectation is that almost 50% of the employers pay, 50% of our entire business should come from the employee paid transportation as well, right? That is what the expectation is, and this should be one of the cases. MoveInSync should be one of the companies which will go and which is being started, built, developed the solution here in India and take it world over to solve the office commute problem. That is the kind of vision that we are working with for the next 5 years.
In terms of what the employees can expect, my experience with MoveInSync says that there is tremendous opportunity for growth at MoveInSync. In the next 5 years, uh, we expect to grow, like we mentioned earlier, 10x. And our goal is to become the leaders in office commute, be it any form or means. This means solving the problems of scale, solving the problems of uh, solving actually unknown problems which are out there. So we are stepping into uncharted territories. We are looking at people who would help us solve that. There is tremendous amount of growth opportunity in terms of uh, whether you want to develop products from scratch and take them to the final end goal, whether you want to step into a more mature product and take it to the next step of its journey. In terms of the technology stack that we are using, in terms of maturity, in terms of performance testing, load testing, automation suites. There's tremendous amount of opportunity that is there in the system right now. A lot of areas uh, are being addressed now because we have reached a certain stage and we are able to address them and not just firefight at this moment.
Okay. Big has a question. I think there is some confusion over that. So the question is, how can people from other locations join the organization? I think we need to inform that the organization is Bangalore based, and if you guys have any plans to open office in other places, so what other openings might come up in other places? That should be our final question for the day.
Yeah, so I think from the engineering perspective, as of today, we don't have any plans to open up in other cities. Definitely, if anything changes, would be more than happy to share it with the audience. But however, from the operations perspective, account management and sales, we have teams in most of the big cities in India. Almost we have presence in 8 cities in India. And so that's the case. In case you want to join or your friends want to join in any of these organizations, sales, account management, business development, do let us know. More than happy to connect you with the right teams.
Okay, I think that will be all. Thank you, Akash, Videh. Thank you for spending time at this late hours. I understand you guys have a business running and you have to go home. I will thank the audience as well. Really good audience. Some good questions coming in. I see few questions which are left, but I think most of them were discussed in the presentation. So I'll thank you guys again. Have a wonderful evening.
Yeah,
Akash, you were saying, sir.
I'll just share our email IDs in case there is any
Yes.
question. More than happy to take it up. And I think this is it's the email ID. Please feel free to drop an email. We are more than happy to have an extended discussion about MoveInSync and the product.
Sounds good.
Thanks so
Right.
much, everyone.
Thank you, Prakash. Thanks, Skillenza, to really taking up this
Yep.
webinar.
Yeah. Good day. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.